God is neither a Christian, a Muslim, a Hindu, nor a Buddhist, but as a young student in high school, what we call secondary school, in my country, Nigeria, one of the courses I so much loved was called economics. Even when I went to the seminary, there was a related course on that for anyone who wants to become a priest, called parish administration, which deals with the finances. But on this subject called economics, there was a particular topic that caught my mind. This topic is distinctly called monopoly. There you will see how many men and women who do business strategize, innovate to get profit. So what is monopoly in the context of business? Monopoly is simply a market strategy whereby an individual or a firm or an organization exclusively takes goods or products or render services to their consumers. And what happens with monopoly is that since the individual or the firm is the only entity that produces a particular product, it can be able to control it. So it can set the prices for those products. It can monopolize. So what happens is that if another firm or another person begins to do business in the same line, lo and behold, the threats, situations of threats begin to, loom everywhere. Why? Because the profit that they have been getting is not longer going to be there like that. So in business, there is monopoly. But I wish to tell you today that in faith, there is no monopoly. Hence, the statement, God is not a Christian, Hindu, or is he a Buddhist? Neither is he a Catholic, nor is he a Baptist or a Presbyterian. God is beyond these walls. God cannot be confined. In fact, faith cannot be fenced. Why? Because God is a universal spirit. Is this not what we see in the readings today? The people of Israel are complaining as they are in the desert. Their leader too is complaining to God. Can you send more people to help me with the burden of leadership? Indeed, God comes to his assistance as we read in the book of Exodus, chapter 11. He appoints 72 elders to go to the tent of meeting. But 70 of them are able to make it to the tent. 2 are not able to make it. But what happens is that as they prayed, the Spirit descends on them. They prophesied in the tent, and indeed, even the 2 that are not there prophesied. But Joshua could not understand this, and he talks to his leader, Moses. Stop Eldad and Medad who are not in the tent. They are not in the church. They are not in the holy, close to the Holy of Holies. Why should they prophesy? But I like the answer that Moses gives him. Are you jealous for my sake? Will the Lord's people not be prophets? You see, the same kind of thing is going on between the disciples of Jesus and the unknown exorcist and Jesus himself. They had gone out there, lo and behold, this unnamed man that do not belong to their own cycle is exorcising, as Mark records at chapter 9 of his gospel. And they come back to Jesus and report. John is the one who says to him, we stumble on a man who do not belong to our own group. He's not one of the disciples, but he was casting out demons in your name. And we tried to stop him. Jesus used the occasion to teach them something new. And what was it? He who is not against us is for us. He who is doing good, whether he's a Catholic, a Christian, a Baptist, a believer, a non-believer, is good. So goodness is beyond walls. Doing good is beyond fences. You can now see how God cannot be confined to walls. You see, one of the things I find very interesting is to watch animals in this channel called National Geo or Geographic, as they call it. There you see the behaviors of animals. You can learn from them. One of these animals that I so much love is called hedgehog. It is an interesting animal. It has different ways to cope and different ways to behave. But I would like to focus on one of its behavior. For anyone who knows this particular animal I'm talking about, if it is moving, its head is always, downwards. And one of the things that makes it to move that way is because of its limited vision. I see that going on in the life of John, in the life of Joshua. Indeed, this can go beyond Joshua to us. The hedgehog mentality. The in-group versus out-group mentality. She's not part of the society. He's not part of the group. Why should he be given leadership position? In the house, she's not part of the submissive group. Why should she be able to lead in meetings? The in-group versus the out-group mentality. But Jesus uses the occasion to teach us, as he taught his audience those days, that indeed this is not the real threat to building the kingdom. Becoming his disciples, the real threat is not external, but the real threat is within. It is internal. And what is that threat? It is simply sin. And he calls them to detach from that mentality of self-centeredness, which we could see in this animal I have described, the limitation of its vision. The question now is, have I acted in that manner? If I have done it, what will I do? If we have done it, what will we do? For the many times that we feel that those that are outside Christendom, they should go to hell. We don't care, but God is saying they are my children as well. Because my spirit is beyond walls. So God can use anybody for good. That is what we learn today from the readings. So as you go out there, are you going to carry the good news by detaching from self-centeredness to now embrace others or not? St. James has summarized it, that the wealth that we have, that the things that we have, of what benefit are there if we are robbing those that are trying to get even little? They are good to nothing because they are going to get rotten and they will not benefit us. So we should detach. And by the time we do that, then we will gain wisdom. Then we will begin to appreciate diversity and inclusivity.